In this video, we're going to look at the 8th exercise in the RAWformance program, which is handstand push-up prep for vertical power. We'll go through the step-by-step instructions on how to do it, and then I'll take you through some progressions that you can use if this is a little bit too challenging. So let's start with the exercise itself. The first thing you'll notice about this exercise is that it looks similar to a handstand push-up, but there's actually two subtle differences. So when you come to the top of your handstand, instead of coming all the way up and tapping your chest, you're going to hold it just above your head and then lower yourself down. And then also, this is an isometric hold. So you don't want to be swinging or moving around while you're holding that position. You're just going to hold yourself stationary like that. Now this one is a really cool one because it works the same muscles as the handstand push-up, but it puts them in a different position. And by doing that, it allows us to work our way into being able to do a handstand push-up without having to get our body so strong. That said, you still need to have a lot of strength to do this exercise. But it's a little bit more technical than it is strength-based. Alright, so let's talk about the step-by-step instructions. First, we're going to start in a pike position on rings 2. So you're going to grab the rings a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. From there, you're going to walk your feet forward until you feel your body nice and straight from the fingertips all the way through the hips and the legs. And then you're going to kick up into a handstand. So you're going to bring your feet towards the ceiling and try to get your body as vertical as possible. If you need to, you can bend your knees a little bit and lean forward slightly to help you kick up. And then once you're up there, make sure your body is nice and straight and engaged. Don't let your hips sag or anything like that. Alright, so now you're in the bottom position. From there, you're going to straighten your legs out fully, tuck your chin to your chest, and then explode up and drive your heels towards the floor. Now here's the difference between a regular handstand push-up and this one. You don't want to tap your chest on the way up. Instead, you want to stop just before your chest touches your hands and then lower yourself back down. So you're going to lower yourself back down and then repeat for reps. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys 3 progressions that you can use if this is a little bit too challenging. The first one is to use straps. So if you have weaker grip strength, then you can use straps to help you hold this position. It's a little bit easier to hold this position if you don't have to worry about your fingers and your grip. Another option is to bring your feet towards the rings and towards each other. So instead of bringing your feet all the way up towards the ceiling, you're going to bring them up towards the rings and towards each other. This is going to put your body in a little bit of an angle. You're going to have to lean a little bit forward, but that's okay. This is going to allow you to work on getting your shoulders over your wrists and getting a little bit more stability in this position. So this is a really good option if you're struggling with stability or getting your shoulders to line up over your wrists. And then the last option is to remove one of your hands. So if you do this on one arm, it's going to make it a little bit easier, and this is also going to help you with stability. So those are the 3 progressions that I recommend. And then the last thing I want to mention is if you're working on this movement and you're trying to build up to being able to do a full handstand push-up, then check out the training program below. It's completely free, there's no credit card required, and it will take you through 8 weeks of training. Each week you'll get a little bit stronger and a little bit more skilled, until eventually you can do a full handstand push-up. Alright, so let's get started. Here I am in the bottom position. The first thing you want to pay attention to is whether or not your body is straight. If your hips are sagging or your butt is sticking up in the air, then that means that your body is not straight and you need to adjust your foot placement. You may need to shift your feet a little bit forward or backward, or maybe even side to side, depending on what part of your body is out of line. So make sure that you check that first. Then you want to make sure that your shoulders are in front of your wrists. So you don't want to be flaring your elbows out to the side. They should be nice and straight in front of you. And then finally, you want to make sure that you're keeping your core engaged. You're not letting your hips wobble or move around. They should be nice and stationary, just like the rest of your body. Okay, so the first progression we're going to look at today is using straps. So if you find that your grip strength is the limiting factor for you holding this position, then you can use straps. So you're going to grab the strap with your hand, loop it around the ring, and then just hold it. And then you're going to do the same thing with your other hand. So here I am in the bottom position. You'll notice that since I'm using straps, I'm not having to put as much effort into my grip. So now I can focus more on my form and making sure that my body is nice and straight and stable. And then when I kick up into the handstand, I'm able to focus on driving my heels towards the ground without having to worry about my grip. So if you find that you're slipping or your grip is giving out before your body is tired, then definitely try this variation. The next variation we're going to look at is bringing your feet towards the rings. So this one's a little bit trickier. If you're looking at your feet and you see that they're really far apart when you kick up into the handstand, then this might be the move for you. So when you kick up into the handstand, you're going to bring your feet towards the rings and towards each other. This is going to put your body in a little bit of an angle, and you're probably going to have to lean forward a little bit to keep your body straight. But this is going to allow you to work on getting your shoulders over your wrists and getting a little bit more stability in this position. So here I am in the bottom position. You'll notice that my feet are quite a bit closer together than they were before. And now when I kick up into the handstand, I'm really focusing on driving my heels towards the floor. And you'll notice that because my feet are closer together, I'm also leaning forward a little bit. So this is another great option if you're struggling with either stability or getting your shoulders over your wrists. The third option we're going to look at is removing one of your hands. So if you're finding that you're really struggling to hold this position, then you can remove one of your hands and do this on one arm. You're just going to take one hand off the strap, drop it to your side, and then repeat the same movement with your other hand. So here I am in the bottom position. You'll notice that I've dropped one of my hands to my side. And then when I kick up into the handstand, I'm focusing on driving my heels towards the floor. And you'll notice that it's a little bit easier to keep my body straight, because I only have one arm holding me up. So those are the 3 options that I recommend if you're struggling with this exercise. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure you stay tuned for future videos. And if you're interested in doing the full RAWformance program, then check out the link below. Have a great day.